What's going on, digital world? Welcome to the first episode of the Morman Digital News channel. I am so grateful to be in this space. It is so beneficial, and I hope that those who are watching can also realize how beneficial this space can be. There is so much opportunity for everyone, and the crypto space is so inclusive. I hope I can be of service to you through perspective and factual news, and I can gain your guys' trust to come back and watch these episodes as they progress. Now, the purpose of this channel is to help everyone become aware of the opportunities the crypto space provides. It's not, I want people to know it's not all about the investing. The crypto space will change the way we do things, from cross-border payments to passive income. You can stake your crypto, you can lend your crypto, you can host a node and have people delegate to your pool to strengthen the network of a proof of stake blockchain. And there's a few of them out there. It just depends on what you guys have in mind. Also, in the crypto space, it brings a whole new business model to small retail investors and small businesses together. You can have NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. And as a designer, you can design these things to be exclusive content to whoever your subscribers or Patreons are. And let's say you're a small band and your backstage passes are NFTs that you have previously created and customers and fans have bought. That would be their backstage pass. And I find it pretty cool. It's really innovative and a new business model to come to anyone who utilizes this space. It just depends on how you want to use it and how it will be beneficial to your business model. So a little bit about myself. I have a associate's degree in computer science. I have experience with cybersecurity. I have been in the crypto space since 2016, and there is so much information under the surface when it comes to the crypto space. And that is why I made this channel, because those who don't have the time of day, you're not really an investor, which most people like to make this space seem about. You wouldn't really encounter the good news that this space has. Only a few major outlets cover the actual news that benefits this space on a daily basis. You would find it every once in a while. It's kind of rare. If there's anything else you would like to know about me, please just enter it in the comments, as well as other topics you would like me to cover. So as far as custodying your crypto, how to keep your crypto safe, how to transact your crypto between person to person, or even the technical details of specific projects themselves. I will also be going over those as the channel progresses. There's just so much to cover, and I will be releasing videos weekly just to try to cover all of the content. Now, without further delay, let's go ahead and get right into it. So right here, I have the current US inflation rates of 2000 to 2021. I'll be more focused on 2020 and 2021. As you guys know, the current economic status of the US is not doing so hot right now. The amount of money printing due to the COVID relief bills and the HEROES Act, it's insane. So you can see the chart topped out here at 5.4%. The usual target for the Fed is 2% to 2.5%, and this is where the crypto space comes in. So I'm going to show you here on the next tab that the average savings account for US banks are not even reaching 1%. It's a 0.5%. That's not doing you any good, and nobody's talking about this. Nobody wants to accept the fact that these banks are literally taking a little chunk of your money every year. You're losing money leaving your money in these interest accounts. It's not helping you at all. Now, the next tab is a regulated digital bank. They're called Nexo, and their average is 8 to 12%. Now, just to give some transparency here, I am actually a customer and hold an interest account with Nexo Bank. And for individual assets like XRP right here is actually 6%. You can see at the top where it says earn in kind, earn in Nexo. So that is their native token to their platform. So it's like uh, Call of Duty points to Call of Duty. So this is the token that they use on their platform. So without earning in Nexo, which would be 8%, you would just earn XRP at a rate of 6%, which is still pretty good. You're still well over the current inflation rate in the US, which I like very much. I have no problem leaving my money with them as they are a regulated digital bank and they are insured up to $1 million. So for the more heavy-handed investors, uh, you're kind of out of luck. There are there are other digital regulated banks that are insured for up to 1.5 million to 2 million. So there is definitely no shortage in holding your money in a savings account in the crypto space. Now, the only thing that's face value and true here is you could see up here the 12% APR, and this logo right here is USDC. The logo to the left is USDT, Tether, and they are actually earned in 12%, which is really good. Like I haven't seen that anywhere. These banks will not offer that to you. They will take a little chunk of your money, and this is your life savings here. I mean, if you're gonna leave your money with them and they're just going to turn around and make more money than you do off of your money, I just find that modern day robbery. And it's amazing how nobody talks about this. So I'm just glad I can be here to bring you guys this news and some awareness on how these banks operate. And there are options. There are better options. And let's move on. So another way to make money in this space, as I discussed in my intro, is running a node, more specifically a lightning node. So what a lightning node is, it is a second layer solution to the Bitcoin network because it is really slow and the transaction fees are really high. And another way this changes the peer-to-peer transactions is you can transact with anyone by creating a channel, simply just running your own node in between yourself and another business or yourself and another person. And the limits on these nodes are however much you pledge to these nodes. So if I have 1 Bitcoin, I can transact with a limit of 1 Bitcoin on my node. I believe the current price is $46,000. So you can top out your transaction activity at around $46,000. And with the robust network, as it's growing, people are creating more channels. The likelihood of you actually maxing out your node with this amount of Bitcoin is somewhat unlikely, but as of right now, the status of these nodes, they're still on the short side. It's around, I believe, 1,000 nodes around the world. So your node will see some activity because people like this stuff. They like to transact without the middleman and they like the innovation. So the way you can make money on the Lightning node, being a node operator or an owner as you would like to say, is the transaction fee. So you will get a percentage of the transaction fees as you run your node, and the only thing that you're required to do is have your node running 24/7. So depending on how often you want to make passive income, you can leave your node on all the time. You can leave your node on maybe only on the weekends or on the weekdays, depending on how much activity you want going through your node. And without further ado, we will move on to the next story. So, what we have here is a story from CoinDesk speaking on the recent activity of Biden's infrastructure bill. And the contents of this bill had a specific regulation in regards to crypto about taxing um, stake pool operators. So stake pool operators would have, a pool of delegators who would pledge a certain amount or however much they want to pledge to a stake pool operator. And what the bill would require of the stake pool operators is to have know your customer information. So usually that would be something like a picture of your passport, a picture of your ID, name, date of birth, and I believe social security number. It depends on the exchange that you're actually dealing with. Not exchange, but the actual project you're dealing with. And that is just simply intrusive. One thing I liked about what happened with this bill is that so many people made a fuss and said that this bill is very vague, it's intrusive, and it's really elementary in regards to the way they want to tax this space. And they were actually banking on a lot of the taxes coming from crypto to pay for this infrastructure bill. So they didn't even have the money to pay for the infrastructure that they were trying to make better. They wanted to tax the crypto space uncontrollably and count on a significant amount of money, revenue coming from the crypto space. So I'm going to play this video here just so you guys can get a view of what they're talking about and what the crypto space actually did when we all come together.
It affects the markets very differently.
Yeah, I know it's every region is impacted by different factors. And I think that the one kind of common thread is that people want to get regulation right. And so we look at what's happening in the United States, and, there's all these debates about this specific bill, and how do we do it right? And the fact that so many people came out and said this is not how you do it, or had an opinion about how the best way to carry out this legislation, I think really signaled that the industry is ready for regulation. They're ready for things to grow, and in order for cryptocurrency activity to grow, you need regulation. And I think that was a really positive signal.
Exactly. So we did everything right in this case. The infrastructure bill was encroaching on what seemed to be a very small space. They didn't think we had a voice, and we did exactly the opposite. We came together, we let them know. I was actually emailing the senator of Pennsylvania, letting them know that, hey, we need to go for the Loomis Amendment. And a lot of other people did as well. I believe they actually had requests via voicemail on what the senators should do or what course of action they should take in regards to the amendments. And their voicemails crashed. But the one thing I'm worried about is who's using voicemail still. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I'm just glad we were able to speak some sense into this portion of the bill, and I'm just glad we stopped it in its tracks before they actually passed this. And let's move on to the next story. The CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, has been all in the news bashing Bitcoin. And as you can see at the top right here, this story was published in 2017. And what he said was, Bitcoin is a fraud and it will blow up eventually. And one thing, I'm not trying to bash anybody here because I can respect his opinion, but when these huge institutions and these companies get into the space only to bash it and then turn around and get into the space and profit the whole time they're bashing it, and then when their pockets are full, they release all kinds of services to the general public, it just drives me insane. Because the whole time you're misleading people. You really are. You're not doing anybody any justice but to go ahead and offer these services when you say, okay, the space is now safe to get into. That's why I want to provide this news. That's why I want you guys to do your own diligence and get as much info as you can and find your foothold in what you want to do in this crypto space, because there's so much to do. Now, we're going to go on to the next story here, where JP Morgan Chase began offering clients with at least $2 million in assets to Bitcoin exposure. Now, what this tells me is that ever since 2017, or whenever JP Morgan Chase got into the crypto space, they have been conducting their research, doing all they can to set up the infrastructure to provide all kinds of crypto lending and custody services to retail investors. But all the while, once the infrastructure was built up so far, they only began leasing it to clients or giving clients with at least 2 million in value exposure to Bitcoin. That makes absolutely no sense. If it's not safe, it's not safe. Why would you say that to the general public and then scratch the backs of the most wealthiest, your top tier clients, telling them to get into this space and make sure they're all taken care of, and then on the back end you wait until there's nothing but scraps left, only to offer it to the retail investor who didn't have time to conduct his own research and know what this space was all about. I'm going to scroll up to the top here and show when this article was published. July 22nd of 2021. So as you can see, JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, has turned a new leaf. He says this space is profitable. He says, hey, my top tier clients, go ahead and dip right in. It's safe. The water's warm. Absolutely insane. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next story. So Peter Schiff here. He's another prominent investor, very successful investor in his time, and a adamant gold advocate. He also said things that were very dismissive to the crypto space. As you can see in the first bullet here, he dismissed Bitcoin as useless and said the crypto boom will end in tears. Now, I don't know where these economists, these big investors, very successful investors, get this information from, but I find it very misleading, because as you have built this platform over your time, a lot of people actually would trust what you say with blind faith. They wouldn't even conduct their own research. They would see you putting out content like this and say, wow, the crypto space does seem a little sketchy. And one thing I can say is that ignorance breeds fear. If you don't know about it, you are most likely going to be scared of it, especially a space as robust as this. The crypto space has so much to offer, and it's so easy to get lost in the recents. And I respect his opinion. He's a very respectable guy and built a reputation over the years. I can't see myself agreeing with him in any timeline. The reason why I brought him up is because he was on the Anthony Pompliano podcast, and it just makes me scratch my head as to why are you still in this space? Why are you trying to remain relevant? It just makes me think that whether the crypto space does good or bad, your name will be in the headlines somewhere, talking to all these major news outlets saying, oh, you know, I've actually come around to the crypto space. It's now a legitimate crypto space. It's been legitimate, and you know absolutely nothing about it. That's why you continuously dismiss it. The facts are there. It has been the most profitable asset class in history. In history. Gold has been around, and it's nothing to scoff at either. It's been around for 5,000 years, and it will be around for 5,000 more. But this is a new asset class. This is a new opportunity for investors to delve into, and creators alike. And let's move on to the last story here for today. So we have Dave Ramsey. For those of you who know Dave Ramsey, he has been the financial advisor of a lifetime. He will equip you with tools to fight debt with your bare hands. And I brought this up, and I couldn't find the article from earlier, but there was an article where he was live on his podcast talking to a college student in early 2020. It was May of 2020 when the crypto space was going down. And the college student simply asked him, "Hey, Dave, do you think I should get into the crypto space?" And Dave scoffed at him and said, "Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Save your money, pay off your debt." And I just find it really misleading as well, because let's say if this college student actually had his ducks in a row. He doesn't have any debt. He only has opportunity in the future ahead of him to speculate with his money, to invest his money, to grow his wealth. If he would have invested in the space in early 2020, he would have been very profitable, as the space, I believe, 3x'd its value. Bitcoin and the whole crypto space as a whole reached a top of $2.2 trillion, which I find very amazing. This college student could have made an incredible amount of money, and it could have been put to good use. I've been a college student before. In the financial situation, depending on the individual, could be different across the board. Who couldn't use extra money? I know I could have when I was in college. That would have definitely changed my mind about the crypto space if I was to speculate and make such amount of money that I could actually pay down on my college, my student loans. And I just wanted to bring up Dave Ramsey just to show that while you are a reputable financial advisor, you're not qualified to speak on all things finance. The financial sector is being taken over by storm by the crypto space, and it's not going to stop. Things are changing, and if you're going to remain in the old ways of the US dollar as king, find interest where you can, you will only be riding off of the scraps that the billionaires leave behind, because they're hopping into the crypto space. As you've seen, Jamie Dimon is only offering the Bitcoin exposure to his wealthiest clients, not the average savings account holder, because you're not offering them enough incentive to actually pay it forward to you. You have to pay it forward to yourself. Conduct research, get into the space, know what's safe, know what is not safe, and dive in from there. And that will do it for this episode. I really appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully any of the content in this video was provided at a value to you. If you guys have any questions on the topics that I went over, please leave it in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter. It will be in the description below. As the episodes progress, I will definitely cover a broad range of topics. So please, if you have anything you want me to cover, or you have any questions over the content that we went over, as far as a definition of something that may seem foreign to you, please let me know. I'm here for the new investors. I'm here for the experienced investors and those to come. We need to rally together to make this space stronger, so we do not get stepped on by the regulators. They need to think when they regard this space as far as sensible regulations, so we can continue to grow. We don't need banks. We don't need it. As you've seen in the second tab that we went over, Nexo is a fully regulated digital bank, and you can interact with them any way you want to. You can take your fiat, you can trade it on their exchange, you can earn interest, you can take out loans, but I'll definitely get into that further in another video of all the services that they provide. I'm going to leave you guys with a video between Anthony Pompliano and Peter Schiff discussing which is the more profitable asset class. And I want you guys to let me know which one you think is better. Until next time, see you.
From its high, I forget, exactly.
So that $1,200 was the high, give or take, and
what's it at now?
$750.
Yeah, so the people that paid $1,200 aren't looking so good.
Yeah. Well, if we talk about gold hadn't been doing so well either. For 10 years, if you held it, you still got less money than you had then. The real return.
It's done better than MicroStrategy since MicroStrategy hit its peak. But look,
if you think
I
about
don't
gold,
think MicroStrategy is going to survive as a company. So eventually they're going broke. So
gold's
we'll
real return in the last year is minus 20 or worse. If you think about it.
Well, it hasn't been a good year for gold then. But look, not every year is a good year.
That's true.
And